Good morning, Luis Mayoral.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being with us. You're the Spanish Trade Office Director, and I want to discuss with you the role of the trade agency to begin with.
Yes, of course. Basically, what we do here is to promote Spanish business in Lebanon, which means Spanish exports and investment in Lebanon, and also Lebanese investment in Spain. To do that, what we basically do is we organize trade missions of Spanish companies to Lebanon, and we also sponsor business trips to Spain for the Lebanese to attend. For example, in September, we've sponsored six Lebanese trips of Lebanese companies from the furniture and textile business. And this is very good news because we stopped all our activities during COVID, and now we're getting back to business as usual, fortunately.
What are the criteria for selecting the companies you send to Spain?
Usually what we do, or what we try to do, is to find activities, like maybe trade fairs. So in this case, there were very important trade and furniture fairs in Madrid and Valencia, and that's why we promoted this activity. But what we are trying to accomplish is find partnerships between Lebanon and Spain, in order to, of course, contribute to the development of the Lebanese economy.
I imagine your work has encountered a few hurdles in the past month or years, let's say, with the economic crisis prevailing in Lebanon. What is your strategy to sort of contribute to enhance things?
Well, it's true that we are facing, of course, difficulties. Lebanon has traditionally been one of our main export destinations to the Middle East, but in the past 3 years, our export have contracted almost 50%. So we've gone from 500 million euro a year to approximately 250. So it's difficult. So we try to focus on these specific sectors where we think we can have a bigger impact, which are mainly, I think, the agribusiness, also the pharmaceuticals, and anything related to food products. So we've experienced a big change. In the year 2018, we had over 3,000 Spanish companies exporting goods to Lebanon, and now it's approximately half also, 1,500. So we were trying to change that. Of course, that's our role in Lebanon.
But I imagine that among the European products, Spanish products are very competitive.
Yes, of course they are. You can find a wide selection of products, Spanish products in Lebanon. Mainly, I think in the fashion, the most visible ones are in the fashion industry. If you go to the main malls in Lebanon, you see all the famous Spanish fashion brands. If you go to a supermarket, there's a wide selection of products as well, and also in construction materials, because the Lebanese, they appreciate a lot our tiles. So yes, of course, we are very present, and we are very competitive as well. And because this economic situation now, the Lebanese are looking more and more, focusing more on price. So I think it's a good opportunity for us, especially for the food and beverage sector. I think there's many things that we can do to increase our participation here.
What's the extent of the Spanish investments at this point in Lebanon and vice versa?
So to be honest, in terms of bilateral investment, there's an important room for improvement. Currently, as you may understand, the difficulties or the current situation, it makes very difficult to invest in Lebanon. So right now, the Spanish investment in Lebanon is non-existent. But what we've experienced is that the Lebanese are looking more and more to Spain. There's a growing interest to invest in Spain.
In which fields specifically?
Mainly, for the 2 past years that I've been here, mainly in the real estate sector and the hospitality business. Now we have companies in Spain developing beautiful projects in southern Spain, residential projects. And we've also been approached by businessmen that want to buy apartment blocks to turn them into hotels or residences for students. And of course, in the past 2 years, there are Lebanese opening up Lebanese restaurants in Spain, which is something new for us. And this makes perfect sense because Spain has a population of 46 million, but we receive in 2019, before COVID, we received more than 80 million tourists, which makes us the second most visited country in the world. So that's why the Lebanese are focusing on this kind of investment. But of course, we want to attract all kinds of investment, particularly in the manufacturing sector. And I think that could be great if we could continue our conversations with Lebanese businessmen to attract their interest and their investment. And one thing that I find particularly interesting is that the growing number of Lebanese doing their studies now in Spain. More than between 100 to 200 Lebanese now, they're doing their master's and postgraduate studies in Madrid. So when they come back to Lebanon, of course, they want to continue this relationship. So it's a great opportunity for us.
Are there any measures to make it easier on Lebanese investors in Spain?
Yes. Well, to begin with, a foreign investor can invest in Spain without any kind of special permit. They only need to report the investment once it's been made. Spain has different regions, and every region has a different kind of incentive. We have incentives for specific industries. We have incentives for SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and also we have some privileged financing by our government, by the ICO, the Official Credit Institute. What we do have, and I think is very interesting, is we have several formulas to provide residency permits for investors. The most straightforward, if you want to have the residence in Spain, is to invest in real estate. If you buy a property over 500,000 euro, you get a residency permit for 1 year, and this can be renewed annually. The second way, the second option, is to invest in the stock exchange. If you invest over 1 million in the stock exchange, then you get as well the residency. And the third one, which I find is more interesting because it has more value to our economy, is to get the residency through an investment. And these kind of permits are granted if our authorities determine that there is a special economic interest. And what we take into account is basically 3 elements. First, that the project has an impact on job creation, how many new jobs the investment is gonna create. Second, if the project has a relevant socioeconomic impact in the region. And third, if it has a positive contribution on the scientific and technological innovation. In any case, what I want to say, or the message I want to express, is that we are the Economic and Commercial Office of the Embassy, and our doors are always open to engage in discussions with Lebanese businessmen. So any questions that they might have, we are always happy to welcome them in our office.
Luis Mayoral, as head of the Spanish Trade Office, what would you like to see developed while you're here?
I think Lebanon is facing a very serious economic crisis, and we had a similar situation in the past. We had a banking crisis, we had a financial crisis, and
you also had a very high rate of unemployment.
And we had a very high rate of unemployment that went up from 8% in 2008 to 27%. So it was really serious, and we managed to get out of the crisis. We focused a lot on our industry and on our exports. And I think Lebanon can benefit from our experience, focusing on industry and exports. And I think there are particularly 2 sectors where we can collaborate. One is agri-food. As you know, or you may well know, Spain is the first exporter of fruits and vegetables of the European Union. And the second one is in the energy sector. Nowadays, 40% of our energy is generated by renewables. And considering that Lebanon has 300 days of sun, I think we can try to push forward the use of renewables in Lebanon. So you have very talented people. The human capital is extraordinary in Lebanon. So I think we have to be optimistic about the future of Lebanon. You
were talking about food industry, and ever since the beginning of the crisis, I think Lebanon has seen something like 200 new factories of food products. Do you happen to work hand in hand with them?
We are working on it. As a matter of fact, yesterday we were approached by a company that wants to develop greenhouses in the Bekaa Valley using hydroponic technology, which apparently makes perfect sense for this kind of land. But we want to do more. Of course, for us, rural development is very important, and because Lebanon has the climate and has the water, so I think it makes perfect sense to focus on agriculture, especially to export and get foreign reserves that are so much needed today.
Thank you, Luis Mayoral.
Thank you very much for having me again.